Yerba Mate.
Yerba Mate.
Yerb.
Yerba Mate?
Yerb.
Yerb?
Yerba Mate.
Yerb.
Guayaki. Guayaki.
So do you know what Yerba Mate is? What are you doing? Okay. Hello, my name is Sophie Mendez and I am a Paraguayan Global Studies and Latin American Studies student. And for my last year of school, I have taken it upon myself to research the consumption of yerba mate in Burlington. From a global studies perspective. So I was originally born and raised in Asunción, Paraguay, where I was able to absorb the culture surrounding this wonderful product. Before I moved to the US in 2016, I already knew about bottled yerba mate products here in the United States because I saw them during a previous trip to California. And then when I moved here and I settled in northern New Hampshire, I noticed full sugar, sparkling, fruity yerba mate drinks in a can sold at my local co-op. And at first I was super happy and overjoyed at this crumb of representation I had in my local community as a new immigrant. So once I got to UVM for my first year of university, I was faced with the incredible popularity of this product. One of the most shocking parts of experiencing the existence of yerba mate at UVM was when Cat Paws posted on their Instagram that they were the fourth biggest retailer of yerba mate guayaki in the country. And it made me think because UVM and Vermont are not a large population of people compared to universities in the cities. And so made me feel like there was a unique aspect to the consumption of yerba mate here in Burlington, which would explain just the sheer amount of yerba mate sold, so concentrated in the University of Vermont. I was so forcefully called to this phenomenon. I needed to know how it got here and why, because it seemed very random to me to have this piece of representation of my community, of my culture here in the global north, because references to where I'm from, Paraguay, are very rare in social media, in popular culture. If mentioned, Paraguay is a nowhere land of which nothing is known, and it is also referred as a safe haven for criminals, or is referred as a place with no extradition laws. It is also referred as a drug route. So before I moved to the United States, when I was living in Paraguay and in Colombia, I never saw drugs. It was not normal for people to know people that used or knew drugs. It was something that you heard about that existed in the periphery. But that changed when I moved to the United States. It was very normalized. People knew people that used drugs, struggled with them. They've seen it. Everybody's seen them. I don't know. It's such a different experience to what is being projected. And it creates this image of countryside with just like nothing and violence, and it is not representative of what is really there. It is not representative of what yerba mate is offering. So Paraguay is so underrepresented in social media that there is this meme that Paraguay doesn't exist. It kind of parallels the memes that Idaho or Iowa doesn't exist. There are Mexican comedians that refer to it.
Hermanos, Latinoamérica. Ese espacio en el planeta Tierra al cual transmitimos este programa con mucho cariño, excepto Paraguay, porque todos sabemos que Paraguay no existe. Si eres de Paraguay, seguramente estás diciendo, sí existimos, estúpidos, no estén jodiendo.
So now you can understand why I was so overjoyed at encountering this product that actually calls to a cultural aspect of my home community. It was most surprising to me that this was held at a high regard in social situations. First time I saw a Yerba Mate product here in the US, I saw the word tereré on the label. I remember this moment as a very significant one because it was also the first time I saw a Guarani word here in the United States, outside of Paraguay. That is the Guarani word that refers to the cold infusion of yerba mate drank through a straw. Oh, I started speaking Spanish. The yerba mate infusion with boiling water is called mate rather than tereré. So mate comes from the quechua mati, which refers to the dry gourd in which the yerba mate is put in. The yerba mate, the actual tea, is dried sticks and leaves that are milled in different ways. Tereré is a traditional drink prepared in a jug or thermos, in which cold water is mixed with bohañana crushed in a mortar. It is served in a glass pre-filled with yerba mate and sucked with a bombilla, metal or cane straw. Preparing the tereré is an intimate ritual involving a series of pre-established codes, and each bohañana herb has health benefits linked to popular wisdom passed down through the generations. Tereré usually looks like this. Actually, let's just make it. Years later, when I got to be a UVM student, I could never imagine people my age consuming yerba mate the same way people back home do. Not the same way. What I was referring to was a similarity in the way that people drink this yerba mate every morning as the main source of caffeine. An integration of this product into people's identities and a sense of community built around this product. In Paraguay, you cannot really buy ready-to-drink yerba mate products like you can here in the United States. Ever since I filmed this, I was actually proven wrong, and my mom just sent me this picture of a ready-to-drink yerba mate product from Paraguay. It's mostly loose leaf yerba mate in bags, tea bags, and dehydrated tea that you can dissolve. In Paraguay, yerba mate is a household item. It could be compared to rice or sugar. Last year, I had a 3-month internship in Paraguay, and I realized that how here offices are complete with coffee, over there they have everything that you would need to drink yerba mate. So you can survive your workday. You can find many kinds of yerba mate at every corner store and at every supermarket. In Paraguay, drinking yerba is highly personalized, as you can see. There are many kinds of bombilla, guampa, and herb combinations put into people's yerba mate. For example, my auntie Marijo likes her water full of lime juice, and I think she likes mint in her cup. People seek personalized herb combinations that cater to their needs at that time. A lot of the stuff that I have is for respiratory ailments and urinary tract infections. There are many kinds of milks and herb combinations that are sold with yerba mate. So what I'm drinking right now is ginger, green tea, mint, and yerba all combined, and that just came in a box. It was like offered to me. This is something that happened. People are used to drinking it in a gourd, a guampa, a bombilla, and with the yerba inside, and the herbs inside of the yerba and or the water. One of my favorite aspects of the yerba mate culture in Paraguay is the yuyeras, who are ladies that hold a lot of knowledge of medicinal herbs and are either in a specific part of the market, they have different places, but They hang out sometimes near where people commute, and so you have your things and you go and you're like, I'm ready to go to work, and you go to the lady and you say, hi, I have headaches and cramps, and she grabs the herbs, she doses them, and she in a mortar and pestle, and then puts it in your water, and you take it, and everything is personalized for your needs.
People's yerba mate syrup are not only for drinking, they're also a form of expression and identity.
People's termos are a window into their soul.
What?
The way that they prepare the yerba mate every day is a ritualistic aspect of wellness. It is not uncommon to see Paraguayan people preparing their yerba mate every day and going into work, taking public transportation, driving Ubers, all with their yerba mate syrup on their side. And these will say their names. These will have characteristics that represent their personality and their values. Yerba mate is personal to the Paraguayan people, but it goes beyond that. It is part of the Paraguayan cultural identity. So, since yerba mate began to be consumed, it has not fallen out of favor with the communities that surround the Atlantic forest, of which yerba mate is native. The cultural sharing that happens when one is participating in drinking yerba mate happens in the physical sharing of the straw, because it demands a certain level of trust to be established in the relationship before you can participate. It also acts as a unifying dynamic because you are drinking the same thing. The same thing is going into both of you. And it also builds a common identity. Yerba mate is so bonded into the local community from where I am from that the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, inscribed tereré into the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. What this means is that this knowledge, this patrimony is so culturally valuable that an international organization has taken notice and made sure that even though if the sun explodes, we took the measures to say that this is what represents humans. The history of Yerba Mate explains to us why we have to understand the implications of this product. It has to do with racism, it has to do with slavery, and it has to do with capitalism. When UNESCO made the decision to integrate tereré into the list, they also published a justification of outstanding universal value, which goes like this. From its scientific name, Ilex paraguayensis, yerba mate refers to Paraguay, and it is believed that the custom of consuming it in infusions is a direct inheritance to Guarani populations settled in the region. In past times, there were extensive areas of natural yerba mate plants, which the natives used as infusions in pre-Columbian times. And after conquest and colonizations, the Jesuits generalized its consumption in the reductions, thus linking tradition and customs of our land. In this way, the Guaranis were forced to work in agriculture, cattle raising, and also in domestic tasks. Therefore, it's certainly known that yerba mate was a key element in the Guarani diet, whose tribe spread over the vast territory bathed mainly by the Paraná Guarani and Uruguay rivers. Paraguayan yerba mate, or tea, was widely used by the Guarani for their religious rites, and soon had a vast acceptance and diffusions among Spaniards, Creoles, and Mestizos, regardless of their social position. During the colonial period, ka'a, Guarani term for herb, a medicinal infusion of the Guarani people, emerged from the Paraguayan forest and suddenly gained such prestige that it became an indispensable drink and food for the inhabitants of Rio de la Plata. Throughout the history of the region, the production of yerba mate is part of the economy, culture, and traditions of the population. Today, yerba mate is an essential part of the Paraguayan diet, regardless of the social class and location in the territory. The consumption of yerba mate and tereré is a common element of the inhabitants of the region, and its cultural value is evidence in the music, stories, tale, poetry, myths, and legends. Declaring the cultural landscape of Yerba Mate as a world cultural heritage would mean justice to the historical memory of those who were subjected to the curse of the extractivism of natural resources in Latin America of several decades, similar to the history of seringueros in Brazil or the Colombian coffee growers, whose identity is deeply rooted in the fruits of their land. Yerba Mate is part of the Paraguayan cultural identity. It is part of Paraguayan history. It was there before there was Paraguay. It was there before there was colonization. And the understanding of this plant everywhere in the world, wherever it is consumed, must be decolonized. Native American people from this region are very, very knowledgeable of medicinal plants. And it has really influenced how people decide to heal themselves and what kind of medicine people are looking for. For example, my father is a doctor, and even though sometimes he might be a little doubtful of yuyos and herbs and medicinal plants, when he has a cold, he still inhales steam from boiled eucalyptus leaves, because he knows, in all of his knowledge, he understands that this is something that works because it is in his culture. This Native American patrimony survived despite colonization, despite suppression. They themselves were forbidden to partake in their own cultural patrimony, in their own practices, when they were being subjected to missionary evangelization. This was reversed once they understood that this product was one of the main economic activities in the region outside of slavery. And then with the encomienda system, which was institutionalized slavery, colonizers were not only allowed but encouraged to exploit Native American knowledge and bodies in order to line their pockets and sell more yerba mate. So the purpose of this project is to investigate the consumption of yerba mate here in Burlington. More specifically, I wanted to know what Burlington consumers knew about the product itself. So I went around Burlington and I conducted a series of interviews. I also launched a couple of Instagram polls. I made sure that Burlington consumers were answering, and I took a lot of my information from there as well. So everybody was asked 3 simple questions. Do you know what yerba mate is? Do you know where it comes from? Do you know how it's prepared traditionally?
I got 18 different responses from 18 different people.
So, what is your name again?
I'm Dan.
Hi, Dan. What is your name?
Quincy, nice to meet you.
Hi, Quincy. Nice to meet you guys.
Matt.
Hi, Matt.
My name is Victoria.
My name's Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. My name is Mary.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for allowing me to ask you questions.
And I graphed their answers to the 3 different questions. And for the first question, there was an overwhelming yes from everybody, or mostly everybody.
So first question is, do you guys know what yerba mate is?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. What is it?
A drink based off tea.
Yeah, kind of like a health drink, like kombucha type, but it tastes better.
I don't really know a whole lot about it. I know it's like a caffeinated tea type deal.
Like, sort of.
No idea.
It's an Argentinian tea, and then they made it into like a whole brand, basically.
This was expected. I started this research knowing that yerba mate was very, very popular here in Burlington. Additionally, I think that the 2 people that did say no, I don't know what yerba mate is, were referring to not really knowing what the product itself was, not that they haven't seen or had yerba mate before.
So the one person that I counted as other is Mary, who said sort of.
Now, when it comes to the second question, do you know where yerba mate comes from? There was an equal amount of yes and no.
Do you guys know where it comes from?
I know my friend who went to Patagonia. they drank it there.
No, not at all.
I think it comes from Argentina,
No.
originally, but I don't know where like this actual. Yeah.
Okay. Is it Portland? I feel like no. I'm not allowed to say anything.
Oh, okay.
I was a little bit surprised by the amount of people that said, yes, I do know where yerba mate comes from. But honestly, I think that these answers had a lot in common when it comes to them referencing either just South America or a country in South America, such as Argentina, but not the region of which the yerba mate plant, Ilex paraguayensis, is native, not the Native American people that developed this drink. So I think that the yes in this answer from a lot of the consumers had a colonized understanding of this product. The results of the third question are less straightforward than the results of the other two questions.
Do you know how it is like traditionally prepared?
No.
No, so.
No.
They steep it in I don't know what it's called. It's like an actual, they have like a certain straw for it and like an actual thing for it, and they like steep it in hot water, and it's like a traditional tea.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit. I know it's like, the one friend, he tells me like when he did it, they all drank out of one cup and it got handed around in like a circle. That seems like a pretty cool, intimate experience.
First of all, I expected much less affirmative responses. I was genuinely surprised by the amount of people that did give me detail in the way that yerba mate is traditionally prepared and consumed. I think this can also, not when it comes to the interviews, because the people in the interviews are completely random, but the responses I got from Instagram can be a little bit skewed, because you're most likely to see the poll that I posted if you follow me. And I have already posted about Paraguay. I had already posted about how I prepare my yerba mate. The amount of no's is not surprising. It's honestly a little bit low compared to what I thought it was going to be. The responses under other were responses that lacked a lot of the identifying aspects that I was looking for. For example, I know people said something like, I know it involves hot water and steeping tea, but nothing else. And I think that that just describes any infusion rather than how yerba mate is traditionally prepared. These results, though somewhat expected, yielded something that actually surprised me, which is that people actually have a bigger understanding of how this yerba is traditionally prepared than what I previously thought. The results that my investigation yielded were a bit expected when it came to thinking that people were gonna say that they knew what yerba mate is because they see it all the time. But I knew that there was gonna be a lot of people saying that at the same time they didn't know where it comes from and they didn't know how it's traditionally prepared. And one can see the trend on how the yeses go down when it comes to each question. The sense of confidence of knowledge on this plant goes down when the questions get a bit more specific, and it reveals a lack of understanding of this product. At the same time, more people said yes to knowing the nitty-gritty of yerba mate than what I was expecting, even in my very limited range of people that I asked.
I started this project wondering if the point of view of the consumers here in Burlington surrounding this product, yerba mate, was going to expand beyond their immediate surroundings. What I mean is that I had this feeling that when people here heard yerba mate, they did not know about this. They only thought about the can. I chose the questions that I chose so I could highlight the non-existence of gourd culture in Burlington, which is what Guayaquil calls anything to do with a una bombilla. Yeah, gourd culture is mate, is tereré, is anything else other than the can, which is already like othering it, and it makes it like, this is Yerba Mate OG can, and this is everything else. It's flipping history in people's brains, and I don't like it. Even though this is not really pushed by companies because it's not easy, it spills, people have to use their own water. The canned product is still being sold as a beacon of friendship, of connection, of identity, of expression. But there's nothing right now that is fomenting those values. But develop those values where the people who are drinking it through the gourd in a circle, making sure you're not slobbering on the straw, making sure you're only steeping the side that your friend is steeping. It has a lot to do with cooperation and understanding and listening, intent listening. But none of that is being recreated here because it's not conducive in capitalism. So how are they selling all of these values with just a can? So the way they do it is that they're exoticizing it, and it's like you are buying a whole story. The side of the can, of the Guayaquil can specifically, it quotes Yari's goddess of mate. I could not find anything about Yari, goddess of mate. They also quote the yerba mate leaves as emerald green. Emerald green. Again, calling back to resource extraction, giving me very much Elon Musk. Yeah, it seems sus. I wanted to know if people knew it wasn't just a can. I wanted to know that. I wanted to show people that there is a world built surrounding this. There are societies that were built on this. Before there was Argentina, before there was Paraguay, before there was Brazil, before there was Peru, before any of those states, people and societies were solidified by the act of sharing of this specific drink. So the answers to my questions led me to understanding that there is certainly a lack of knowledge about this plant, this product. Half of the people that I interviewed were the people that I was expecting, saying, yes, I do know what yerba mate is. No, I do not know where it comes from. No, I do not know how it's traditionally prepared. But the other half surprised me, at least breaking away from Burlington, at least knowing that it's from somewhere else. I guess, sure, it's in the on the can if you know how to read or whatever, but yerba mate, with it being a beacon of connection and identity, it does claw on to, you know, the identity of the people who are consuming it. So I was wondering if the consumers of Burlington were going to use it to supplement their own connections, their own identity. For me to say that, I do need to do more research. As you can tell, I have many more questions than I have answers to life. To this specific research, I just think that half of the people followed what I thought was gonna happen, saying, yes, I do know what yerba mate is, thinking of the can, and saying, no, I don't know where yerba mate is from or how it is traditionally prepared, because they don't think beyond it. Now, to know if it has truly become exclusively something from Burlington in people's brains, I think so. That I'm sure that has happened, but it was refreshing to see that half of the people that I interviewed thought beyond Burlington and said South America or something like that. I want to know the overall consumption of yerba mate in Burlington. I want to know the numbers. I want to know how much Guayaquil sells in Capas, at the Marché, at Target, at the co-op. I want to know how much bulk yerba mate the co-op is selling. I want to know how much honest yerba mate people are selling. I want to know if there actually has been a shift to Guayaquil to clean. These are all speculative and something I would love to know in the future. Another one is like, is there a deeper significance of yerba mate consumption here in the global north? Does that mean that Paraguay could switch to a sustainable form of extraction of this plant and sell it as a luxury product? Native American people could own these companies and actually get the benefit from their cultural patrimony. My question is Is this cultural appropriation? I know that might seem redundant, cannot tell concretely, and I would love to continue researching this and focusing on, is this cultural appropriation? I do feel like I have some, how do you say, authority on this, and I think there probably is a level of that, but like Guayaki is a B corporation, and honest, in the back of their can they have a very good description quoting Native American communities such as Guarani and Quechua, and saying that it is from the Atlantic forest, and saying Ilex Paraguayensis on the can. Those are important aspects that are decolonized and are the real nitty-gritty of the product, and they are telling you how it is. It's a product of the dawn of capitalism as it took hold of Native American cultural patrimony and forced its expansion. But after Encomienda, it stayed because the values that were passed on are the same that were intended. I don't know if this is cultural appropriation, but I would like to find out eventually. Let me know if you would watch another 30 minutes of this. Okay, that's it.
Sin tu luz.